What's up guys, Neo-Spacian here, coming at you with another retro deck profile. Today I thought it'd be fun to look at my Synchro cat list for the March 2009 ban list. This is a really fun mirror to play. Lightsworns are also a part of the format, but I really do enjoy this mirror. It is a lot of fun and I definitely recommend you guys give it a try. With that, we'll get right into the list. Again, this is not anybody else's list. This is something that I've kind of just homebrewed based on a bunch of other lists that I was looking at from 2009 Nationals. First off, we have our 2 Rescue Cat. Konami definitely learned the lesson with this card by including the Rescue Rabbit text line of can't be special summoned from the deck. It's the main play. Go ahead and get 2 monsters, Synchro Summon, take cards out of your opponent's hand with Airbellum, all of that shenanigans. That special summon from deck line or clause was because of this card here with our 2 Summoner Monks. Puts itself in defense, but it gets a level 4 monster from deck. And allows us to get our Rescue Cat. And that is our main Synchro play. And then our targets for Rescue Cat. We have the 3 Airbellums. This is our tuner choice. It rips a card out of your hand when it does direct damage. And we can easily do that because we play a lot of cards in the extra deck that will allow us to, let's say with Arcanite Magician, we can make that with our Monk and things like that. And then blow their opponent's board and then use the extra Airbellum to blow that up. Essentially, you go -1 by using Monk and a spell, but your opponent goes -3 because you blow up 2 cards with Arcanite, and you rip a card out of their hand if you clear their board with Airbellum. So that's kind of how that exchange worked. Then we have the non-tuners. Most only played 1 Ryko, and then the 1 Neo-Spacian Dark Panther as a 6 to make things like Goyo. So essentially, have you 5 or your 6 if you're not going into a 7 with anything else. The only reason you played 2 targets for this, non-tuner wise, was because a lot of times you were just getting 2 tuners, so you didn't really need more non-tuners. An interesting thing about Dark Panther, it's not necessarily an entirely dead brick because in the Lightsworn matchup, you can use its effect to copy Judgment Dragon, which is a really cool interaction that I like with that card. Next, we have a small Gravekeeper engine. We have 2 Spy, and then 1 Guard. We had multiple Book of Moons. Some lists like to play 3. I'm only playing 2 in this list. There was a ruling going around at Nationals at that time that was actually incorrect, based around Summoner Monk here. We'll pull the card out. That showed that it's text, but the last line said, but that monster cannot attack for the rest of this turn. They thought because that effect was still resolving, you did not get priority on a Rescue Cat summoned off of Monk, so that you could Book of Moon it. You could Book of Moon it before they were able to call priority, but that was an incorrect ruling. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm only playing 2 book. And we have a small Mystic Tomato engine. We have our 2 tomatoes, and then these will allow access to not only the GK monsters if you have the Book of Moon or anything like that, but we also have another tuner in Gale, and then 1 Sangan. And then Gale also paired very well with our 1 of Cyber Dragon. This card, Cyber Dragon was limited. It had been an absolute terror since its release. The card is just absolutely nuts in order to just go all out and just be able to put a 2100 body on the board for free, and you can normal summon Gale, cut a monster, and then make an 8. It was just kind of getting out of hand, so it makes sense for Cyber Dragon to be a 1, especially during formats like Perfect Circle. And then we have a couple boss monsters. We have our Dark Armed, and then we have our 1 of Gorz. On to the spell lineup. To draw cards, and again, we play in Darks, playing Dark Arm, so we are also playing 2 Allure of Darkness, as well as 2 Pot of Avarice. This is a really cool card to put all of our Rescue Cat and our targets back and things like that late game, and basically steal games the longer they go on. Not too great against Lightsworn because that deck wants to end the game immediately, but really good in the mirror. To make sure that we can Synchro Summon and steal games, we have 1 Brain Control and 2 Mind Control. These cards are awesome for making synchro plays and things of that nature. Mind Control, great for maybe like stealing your opponent's Spy or your opponent's Ryko and then using that against them and then synchroing with it. For some level manipulation, some protection, being able to go into different levels in the extra deck. We have the one of Scapegoat, a protection against Giant Dragon and other destruction effects. We have one My Body as a shield. The aforementioned 2 Book of Moon, again with that incorrect ruling. Booking your own stuff is still obviously really good though, so 2 Book of Moon. 1 Reborn, and then my personal favorite format with removal for back row, we have 1 Cold Wave, 1 Heavy Storm, 1 Giant Trunade, and 1 MST. Just a smorgasbord variety of different back row removal cards, but funny nonetheless that all of these cards were played at 1. Next, we'll get on to the trap lineup. We have the one of Crush Card Virus. This card, again, doesn't need any explanation. It is absolutely broken, especially against Lightsworn, because, like, Judgment Dragon, just get it out of the hand, just stop them from playing. Hits Lila, hits Jane, hits so many big Lightsworns, hits Garroth. Card is awesome. Again, another card that doesn't need any explanation. 1 Trap Dustshoot. The ability to just look at your opponent's hand is just way overpowered. There's a reason this card is banned. Yeah. And then we have 1 Torrential Tribute to clear boards. And then a thing that was... it was like a 3 or a 0. It was an underappreciated card for a long time, and it definitely went under the radar during really old formats. But 3 Solemn Judgment... they don't match yet. They will eventually. I really like this card to be able to make sure our cat plays go off to stop things like Torrential Tribute, to stop opposing crush cards. Really important to be able to do that. So this card is, we want to be able to play the game. So we play the 3 Solemn Judgments. Now we'll get on to the extra deck. The only 5 we play is 1 Android. You mostly obviously make it with if you just have cat. It's interesting to know about cat is, like, whenever you open it turn 1, you typically don't want to play the cat because you're only making this or a 6, and that is really underwhelming. What you want to do is you want to use it to respond to your opponent. So you want to be able to use your extra deck here that I'm going to show off as a utility to kind of respond to what your opponent's board is, rather than the quote-unquote build a board that we would see later on in the game. So a lot of times, like, setting Sangan or setting Spy or something like that was a better turn 1 play, even if you opened cat. So that is kind of an interesting way of looking at it. We have our 6s. We have 1 Goyo, and then 1 Gaia for when Goyo gets destroyed. Here we go. 2 Dark Strike Fighter from 3 to 0. Banned, then errated and came back, but in its original state, it was just unbearably broken. There's a reason this card went from 3 to 0. It was one of a few cards to do that up at that point in time. It's just not a healthy card. I remember for Demise in the GX era, that deck was really powerful, but Demise had like a mini kind of gimmicky OTK. Rather than playing the insects with your vanillas and things like that, you would play machine vanillas, and you could summon Demise and then Black Salvo like a mechanical chaser if we were using one of the vanillas there. And if you blew the board and then summoned Dark Strike Fighter, attacking with DSF and the Ritual Monster with Demise, and then tributing both was 8k. So it's, kind of gimmicky. Never saw a lot of tops, but it is hilarious when it happens. Double Arcanite Magician, again, picking off cards and things like that. You have the Spellcaster level 4s to go with your Airbellum, so it's easy to make that. Black Rose to clear boards when you're kind of unsure about Arcanite being able to, like, resolve because it didn't have the priority because of the counter system with Torrential Tribute. So if you really needed to do that, let's say you wanted to summon like a Dark Armed or something like that, and you had the 3 darks, so you could just make Black Rose and then blow everything up just to make sure that you were going to be able to be safe there. And then a really underrated 7, 1 Urbellum. This card was really cool. It was really fun to just be able to take cards, again, out of your opponent's hand and set them back a turn. That is a really good mechanic in this game. There's a reason that While in GOAT format, Raigeki Break is the better card. Wing Blast became the better card for Perfect Circle. Just being setting your opponent back is really good. 1 Armor Master because we play the Gale. And then for 8, we have Stardust, Colossal Fighter, Thought Ruler. This card is also really good and really underrated. And then our big boy and Red Dragon. And then to deal with opposing Cyber Dragons and other machine variants, we have the 1 Chimera Tech because we main deck Cyber Dragon and it's not on our side deck. There will be some duels in the description. Like always, be sure to like and subscribe for more retro format content. And thanks for watching, guys.